trying to set up this computer here.
John,
Yeah.
are you sweating?
I don't know why I would sweat. It's just an interview. This is brain juice that's coming off. So I don't, just give me a chance to set this up.
Okay.
Did she just call me out on sweating? Look, I don't care if you're Danielle Panabaker or Danielle Fisher. Well, actually, I had a crush on Danielle Fisher. But that's besides the point. I don't care if you're Danelle Hallan or somebody named Danielle Hallan. I am John Crimes. I am...
John, you know I can read minds too.
Boom, 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 boom. I am John Crimes here with another one of my interviews as I love to talk and get to know the people that are in true crime. And today we have the lovely...
Danelle Hallan. And this is perfect because I love to talk too.
Yes, actually, great, because I got a lot of questions set up for you, but I want to do something interesting because you guys do a lot of Q&As.
Yeah.
So I want to try to do something like different kind of questions into the psyche, the mind.
Perfect.
But we get some of the boring stuff away that would be boring to all of your fans. I want you to know that the problem isn't we don't know how to pronounce your name. We know how to pronounce your name because you've said it over and over again that it's Danielle. And it's sort of like I'm looking at this screen, I'm looking over here, I'm like, I know it's Danielle. I know it's Danielle. Danelle.
You can't help it. You really can't. It's the spelling, isn't it?
Yes, it's weird because, like my name, I'm going to shock the world. My name is John Shay.
Ooh, I've always wondered.
Yes, that's my name right there. And people mess that up a lot. So it's just John, man, John. So, yeah, so with these, I guess let's just go normal. The one you've answered a billion times. What got you into true crime?
Oh my goodness. I've actually been a fan of true crime ever since I can remember. I used to watch like Law and Order SVU, things along those lines when I was growing up. And then I think it was when I actually got into either middle school or high school, I started to read true crime books, fictional ones, just out of curiosity. And then probably the one thing that really drove it home for me is when I was in high school, I took a forensics class. And I actually think I only picked it because I had to pick one more extracurricular. And the second I got in it, I was so fascinated. I remember one of the first things we did was study how glass breaks, like the direction. And we got to do our own experiment. And then it kind of went on from there into blood splatter. And we were given these puzzles. And basically in the puzzle, it was a whole bunch of different steps. And I even think you can download these puzzles online. And the different steps kind of gave you tiny clues within them. And it was a whole sheet. And by the end of it, you had this whole paper that you'd filled out with just all these different bubbles and ideas and theories and directions you could go in, and you had to solve the crime. And I was hooked. I actually became that teacher's assistant the next year because I was like, I need to at least sit on this class again. Like, I know I can't take it again. I can't take the same class over, but I have to at least be a part of it. So I got to grade all of their papers. I got to take all the extras of the little papers that they had with all the different crimes you had to solve, and I got to do those in the back in my free time. So it's actually something that's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. I think I even watched Monk. I think Monk might have been one of the very first things that I watched.
I love my favorite episode is this guy was using packages to like blow up stuff.
Yep.
And Monk kept saying he's did it, and they were telling Monk he's in a coma. How can he do it? But the guy he put like glue, and then it'll take like months before the glue would wear off, and then the stuff will drop and it will blow up to make him look like he didn't do it. It was funny and different.
Anyway, why would an accomplice bother to go through with it? There was no reason to. The guy who hired him was in a coma.
All right, so Brian built the bomb, and then Brian mailed the bomb by himself
That's right.
while he was in a coma.
I don't even think I've seen that episode, but Monk, it's a good show. It's fascinating because I feel like it's one of those true crime shows where you have to think too. You're not just watching something happen the whole time. You're like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, whoever wrote it is smart. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Now this is good because this sort of reminds me of myself. You joined true crime through the technical aspect of it and the crime solving version of it.
Yes.
But your reputation is of your passion you have for your victims.
Yes.
When did you notice the crossover changing for why you are into this? Was it a specific case or something that happened?
I don't think necessarily a specific case. I've always thought I'm an empath. I know some people don't believe in that. They don't think that's a thing, but it's kind of something I've always dealt with, but I never really knew what it was. So I think I went into this looking at it from a very puzzle solving aspect and, wanting to figure things out and understand. And I think just as I went on, I started to realize how much I was connecting with the victims and what they were actually going through and what their families went through afterwards. And I think maybe one thing that really changed everything was after the Skylar Burnley case. I don't know if maybe Sky could have possibly threatened that or threatened to say something about it. He seemed to be a genuinely very caring person. Maybe he was concerned for the daughter. He had absolutely no history of a criminal record. He had no history of mental health issues, no history of being involved in very large drugs. So maybe he stood up for something that he thought was wrong and it threatened them. I covered his case, one of my very first cases, and his mother was the first parent to contact me. And I remember, even if we understand that these are real people that we're dealing with, these are victims. They have feelings, it's emotions. Until you hear the family of a victim speak to you one-on-one, there is just something about that changes everything. And I think I'd always really empathized with the family and understood the pain they were going through. And, I felt terrible for the victims. That's something that I just think I understood on a human level. But I really do think it was speaking to a family for the first time where I was like, holy crap, this is years after the fact. And I could feel her emotions through what she was saying to me. And it just really, really hit home and really changed everything for me.
Did you start that video technical, Danelle?
I don't think so. I mean, it was definitely one of those where it was a puzzle and it was, something that I couldn't figure out. And I actually remember I was laying on the couch, just having a really casual day, and I was looking through people's suggestions. And at this point, I was really small and suggestions came in comments. And I saw Skylar's name and I was like, I'll just look it up really quick. And then I remember looking it up and
Wormhole.
it was one of those things where nothing made sense and it was the perfect puzzle to figure out. And so, it was definitely one of those cases that was very technical. It was I need to figure this out. I need to understand the aspects of it. So in a sense, yes. And it it did. It completely changed when his mom reached out to me. I remember that moment too. I was standing up with my laptop up at the bar at our kitchen, and my husband was making dinner. And I was like, I'm just going to check my emails real quick. I think I was like designing my very first merch that I put out. And I will never forget the feeling when I saw her name, because I recognized her name. I knew who she was. I had seen it. I'd watched interviews with her. And I was just in absolute utter shock and disbelief. I don't know. It's hard. We all look at things from a very technical aspect, at least most of us when it comes to true crime, because that is a part of it, is the technical aspect of it. But something about that one moment, that first moment that you have, it hits you like a ton of bricks.
You were the first person I saw because, I watch Forensic Files, do the shows. I'm watching you. You were the first person that you came on several videos. I'm binge watching you. You made sure the audience knew these are real people involved. These are real cases. And it kind of threw me back. I got my popcorn ready. I'm ready for the case. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is real. It's not just a different genre of YouTube. Do you think, and I'm going to go back and check. I'm just curious. Do you think the video directly after that, you had a different approach because of talking to her?
More than likely.
So you guys know I had to investigate or I wouldn't be John Crimes. Let's look at the video following the Skylar Burnley video. Her next video was to Paulette Gabara. In this video, she gives a warning of the gruesome details that you're about to hear. Now, if you want to go even further, the second video she did following the Skylar Burnley video, where she changed because she spoke to the victim's family, was Corey McKeough. Listen to what she says at the end of Corey's video.
One thing that the mother said in one of the interviews really, really got to me, and that's that people don't just vanish. And I feel like when we're looking at these cases and, trying to figure out what's going on, it does. It seems like this person has just vanished with absolutely no trace, but that's just not the truth. They are somewhere. They are somewhere, and someone knows something, someone has seen something. There is a trace of that person somewhere. It's just about finding it, and that is the absolute hardest part. So I sincerely hope that this family gets the answers that they need so badly. It was heartbreaking to watch them talk about how they just have to take it day by day and hope for the best but prepare for the worst.
Does this not sound like someone who is putting themselves in the family's shoes?
Because I feel like, again, when it comes to creating YouTube videos, especially about something this sensitive, you're always going, or at least I always try to make it a point to get the facts out. There's like this fine line between entertainment and a sense of you need to get the information out there. You need people to be engaged. And I hate using the word entertainment, but that's like the only, engaged. I guess that's a better word. And, remembering that it's a real person. This is someone's life. And I always did try to make it that way. But I am almost positive that the next one probably was very different. Yeah. I think I probably even tweeted about it. I probably put something on Snapchat, on Instagram immediately after speaking to her. And I remember I just had this like feeling in my heart for like weeks after that I just couldn't shake. And it's like literally about to make me cry now, because she is the strongest, sweetest woman. And I don't know. I don't know. I know you've interviewed family before. And it was always something that I'd been very scared of, speaking to family, because I always felt like I wouldn't do their victim justice. So I know it was different afterwards. I know it was, because I felt an entire shift just in general, internally within myself. So probably let me know when you check.
Yeah, I will. Just because I'm curious about stuff like that. I'm curious about how life takes you in all kind of direction. How my videos look had I never saw you say that before videos. Would I still been doing the technical thing, or instead of setting people up to let them know that these are real cases,
Yeah.
I want you to tell me. You do all of this work, you're sitting here, you're tired. I know how it is. You go through a whole case, and boom, it's out to the public, and they just see it. It's been like 10 minutes. It's been up like 10 minutes. What happens to you and your computer? All those files and everything that's going on behind the scenes as everybody's watching.
Oh, everything is saved. All of my notes are saved. All of my clips are saved. Um, I feel like it's easy when you're covering cases at that pace to almost like do what you need to get done and then move on, because it's almost like you feel like you need to in order to lighten your heart a little bit, because it's very difficult. But I mean, all those things on my computer are saved, and most of the time for the rest of the day I'm talking to my husband about the case. It's something that I don't get past. It's something that I still think about, and I'll think of new ideas or new theories. Like at this point, you could ask my husband about any case that I've covered. He's going to know it top to bottom because I don't stop talking about it. And I don't know. And I actually get asked a lot on my channel about that. If I follow up with cases that have happened, if I keep going with them, or if I just kind of let them go. And I feel like once you've invested that part of your heart and your time into it, how could you not? You know what I mean? Like, how could you not keep checking, not keep seeing if there's any progress? It's a lot of cases, it is, and I am not going to lie and say that I check up on every single one every day of every week, but I feel like if you're doing it for the right reasons and if you genuinely want to help, it doesn't end at the video. And I think that's what a lot of people I also have actually most recently tried to push on my channel, is that it keeps going from here.
Yeah.
Because it's really easy with YouTube videos, especially for viewers. They see the video, it's the first time they've heard of it. They only hear an hour of it, and that's it. For them, it might not continue. For them, maybe they're just left with this question, but they'll forget, and then the next week there's a new video and that's a new topic to go on to. So that's actually one thing that I've tried to state a lot in my most recent videos, is it doesn't end here. It doesn't, these cases don't end just because my video ends. This is just where we are now. This is just where the case is since the last time I Google searched it, and what's so awesome about that actually is that majority of my viewers, they know that on their own, which I think is really, really awesome, because the amount of DMs and emails I get when like the tiniest thing happens in a case, it's always one of those things where I'm like, they're taking it in, they're listening and they care. It's beyond just entertainment or engagement, as we were just talking about. These, the viewers care, and we're all kind of fighting towards one goal. And we might not be able to be perfect, we might not be able to progress the case never we want to, because there's so many, but yeah, doesn't stop for me, doesn't stop for my family, because they always hear about it. So, and I'm sure, I remember actually reading your tweet about something like that the other week, and it hit me hard, because that's actually something that I just had to do. I had just finished a video I filmed today, and I had at least like 15 to 20 tabs open on all these victims, and one or two of them was just like a list of victims, because I just covered a serial killer, and it just like it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, trying to clean out all the tabs and everything. For your background, you can't see it now, but you'll see it when the video's out. But for your background, I have to go into John Crimes, and then I have to go into a folder called Interviews, and then your folder. But to get to Interviews, it's all the cases that I cover. It's all the names, that I scroll past to get there. And I don't know if I want to say this out loud. Just in private at home, I thought, like, this looks like a graveyard.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you have something you consider like, if you're going to know me for anything, know me for this case?
I'm trying to think. That's hard. That's really hard.
You would wake up and run down the street screaming if your husband said on the news they found the killer about this case.
Probably, honestly, all of them.
Okay.
But to answer the question, very recently, actually, I'm sure you're aware of this. At CrimeCon, I worked close with a private investigator named Sheila Wysocki on the case of Christian Andrea, which is, I covered it on my channel, like as brief as possible, because it had been covered on John Lordan's channel multiple times, and probably that one because it's one of those things again where there's a lot that happens off camera that people don't see, and that case, I don't think I have it near me, but it's one of those that I have put everything into. Like I have a big folder.
Yeah.
Like a giant folder. I mean, I've got this whole thing. I bought all these highlighters for it. I bought all of these sticky notes for it. That one, and not even that I want to be, if you know me, know what I did on this case, it's just the case in general. Like, because a lot of the work that I did on it, people don't know about. It's not anything that I broadcast or that I even spoke about really on my channel, but probably that one, because again, it's the family, and I sat in the PI experience. John Lord and I had a panel, and we had a big discussion with the different groups that came in from the PI experience, and his family was sitting in the back the whole time. And again, that just kind of is a game changer. You even the most down to earth person that understands these cases are real. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how much you understand that family is right in front of you and you're hearing what they say. Everything changes. That case would be one of those cases that if I heard they finally got who did this to him, I would lose my marbles. I've already told Powell I would buy a plane ticket. I would go down there. I would sit through every single bit of their trial. Hands down, I wouldn't leave until I watched the guilty verdict be given. So definitely that one. It's one of those things that I daydream about in the least creepy way possible of, just seeing the person who did that to him and his family go down for what they did.
How do you deal with that? I mean, I've only had one. You saw my one where I spoke with the daughter. Her mom is missing, and I knew before the video went up, she's gonna watch this.
Yeah.
You've been through that countless of times. Is that pressure or
It's scary, in a sense that I feel like it's a lot of responsibility. When people contact me, family directly about covering, their loved one's case, probably one of the first things I always say is, thank you for trusting me, with this information, because when you have an audience that's the size of mine, it's scary because I feel like a lot of people see that as a number, but that's people. They're people too. The viewers are people too. And we see a number, we just think, oh, that's big or oh, that's small. I don't care if you only have 500 subscribers. That is a lot of people. You think about picturing 500 people in a room. Those are the people that you are telling this information to. And it's scary. It's scary when I know a family's going to watch a video because I rely on media, and we know how the media can be. There can be things that are not true, and I never ever want to give out false information that will hinder a case. It's scary because I also know there are real feelings attached as well. And it's a difficult balance. And again, I know you understand this, that you want to say your opinion, you want to say what you think, you want to talk about theories that you believe, but it's also, you want to be respectful and you don't want to hurt anybody and you don't. So yeah, it's definitely really, really scary. I've had some negative outcomes, but I think that's just a part of it. Whether it's a negative or positive outcome to one of the videos you've created by a family member, I try to just make sure that from the beginning, I am proud and confident in what I put out. Even if that takes me 3 extra weeks and everyone goes without a video for a while.
Yeah.
But it's definitely scary.
Have you come to the end of a bunch of information and you work with this family closely and they're really liking you, and from what you saw, it hit you that is completely different than what they see, and they may not like what you see.
If I'm being really honest, those are the ones that I avoid and choose to not cover, which to some people may seem bad. Like I should cover it regardless. But typically, if a family contacts me and asks me to look into something, I don't give any promises right away because I don't want to make promises that I know I cannot hold myself to. And I know one thing I cannot do is be dishonest with the family or with my viewers. So typically, if that's the case, I won't make a video. I try to be very honest and vague with the family and then do my own research. And then once I've done my research, I'll reach back out to them. So typically I try to even avoid those situations happening without going through all the information first. So yeah.
See, that's why I'm glad I do these interviews, because now she just taught me what to do. Like in that situation, like, okay, I'm just not going to do it. But no,
I mean, it's going to happen. It's one of those things, there's plenty of cases that I have had suggested hundreds of times. I've had families suggest that I cover it, and they felt a very strong way, and I've ended up feeling the opposite way, and I just leave it be. Now, someone who will do it and just tell you the truth regardless is John Lord.
Yeah. Oh, he'll do it.
he will, but he's perfect for that. See, I am like, sometimes my opinions are my downfall, and I'm aware of that, which is why I try to keep my channel very unbiased for the most part. But he's really good at getting his opinions out there in a way that's intelligent. That's the best way that I can put it. But I know that's not what I'm strong at, so I try to avoid it. Some people can do it. I think that it's not worth me hurting a family. If I know that I will hurt them, that means I'm not helping the case, and then my whole video isn't doing what it's supposed to anyways. I guess that's a very perfect short way to sum that up. But instead I went on for minutes.
That's really good. I'm going into stuff that I get. Have you ever been suggested cases, and a lot of people are asking you to do it, but it's really wrapped up really quickly? It's such and such went down this alley, he killed such and such. There's no background on the killer. There's no real background on this. It's just they saw this headline. It's just like, oh, I'm pushing us to dangerous territories. Is a form of entertainment important to hold an attention? Because we do long videos.
Absolutely. And I will have people fight with me about that till the day that I die. And I will always say that it is because, we all know at this point, I've always been giving crap about my thumbnails. I've always been giving crap about, so many different things.
Wait, what's wrong with your thumbnail?
There's a method to my madness. So people complain about so many things, that I wear makeup and that, I put a picture of myself in the thumbnail, but it's one of those things where the things that you don't see on camera is growing an audience and growing views and keeping an audience. And it's been statistically proven, for example, that having your face in the thumbnail it's something for someone to relate to, whether we want to agree with that or not.
Okay.
We relate to someone, and I mean, think about it this way: your first impression of someone is how they look, and your eyes immediately go to their face. You're looking at their face, you're looking at the way they make their expressions and all these different things, and that pulls you in. And it's the same thing when it comes to these videos. It can be, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. There are so many video suggestions that I have received where the case is very small. And from my personal experience, I've tried that before. I've done a mini series. Some people might be familiar with that, where I would clump maybe like 2 or 3 cases together, because it got to the point where it was hurting me knowing that I was skipping past cases because I couldn't make them longer than like 5 to 7 minute videos. So I attempted to. I attempted to put them together. I attempted to get them out into the world. But unfortunately, the fact of the matter is that no one watched it. I don't know why.
There's
I
no
don't know.
details.
And it's difficult and it sucks and it doesn't make the cases less important. It just makes it a lot harder for people to relate, I think. And I think when it comes to situations like this, missing persons cases, unsolved murders, people watch it because they feel so much. And I think that with cases like that, it's hard to make a connection. It's hard to understand what someone's feeling because there's not a lot of people saying what they feel. It's hard to understand the victim because there's not enough about them. It's hard to form an opinion on who may have killed them or what may have happened to them when you know nothing about the circumstances. So again, me and the word of entertainment, but there has to be this aspect in the videos that gets people engaged in one way or another. And we all watch true crime videos for our own reasons.
Yeah.
And I feel like with cases that are small like that, it's just so difficult. It is so difficult. And then, I've even been in the position where I fluff it as much as I can. Like I try to do all these things to add in information, but then I get negative comments of, well, you just spoke forever about how great of a person this was. Like you really just hung on this victim, like, and how great they were and all these things. Like no one's that perfect. And then people get mad about that.
Yeah.
And then true crime's a bigger slippery slope than people think it is.
Oh yes. How about that though? How about I'm so passionate. People easily know what gets to me. You're so even keel. You come on it, I know what I'm gonna get from you. But you're a human being. Do those comments ever get to you?
Oh, absolutely. All the time. All the time. And that's another thing that I will never deny. I've had many a breakdown. Many a breakdown that I've publicized on social media after it. Comments like that do get to me for all different reasons. I think it all goes back to we create videos to help people and because we feel so much usually for the victims. And when you put someone that's already overloaded with emotion and understanding and being empathetic, and then you start throwing these negative comments at them, I feel like for me, it doesn't just hurt me because it's something about me that might be negative, but I feel like it distracts from the video when I get comments like that, because then it starts a whole thread of like why I'm a terrible person or why my thumbnail's dumb or like, things like that. It gets to me. I'll never deny that. We're all human. Just because, I'm a YouTuber doesn't mean that I don't feel things. And I think I hate this because I don't want to sound like vain, but the reason why I do my channel the way that I do and I started it the way that I did is because in most of the things that I was personally watching with true crime, there was no emotion involved. Mm-hmm. No emotion. There was nothing. And how I feel like YouTubers these days are expected to be emotionless and like these bulletproof walls against people's opinions and thoughts. And how can I create a channel that's based on feeling and being empathetic and sympathetic when I then in turn, I feel like it's not fair to expect me to not feel other aspects like negative comments and things like that. I hope that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't understand why someone would not have feelings. Like if I love a case, I'm not gonna watch one YouTuber. I'm gonna watch everybody. And if everybody got the facts, we all do Scott Peterson. What's the difference about your Scott Peterson video about this person, Scott Peterson video? Yep. Yep. So I don't know. How was it your transition? I like to relive these moments. What happened that day you knew something was wrong in a good way? Like, dude, I'm not getting 1,000 views. Something just happened. Like, I just got there's a bunch of people subscribing to me and I'm getting a bunch of views on these videos. What time period was that? What video was that where you knew that there was a change that you were taking off?
I actually can't pinpoint a specific video, but I remember a point in time. I was on my 4th of July vacation 2 years ago, I think it was, maybe even longer than that. And at this point, I hadn't even made that many videos. And I remember I would sit on my couch, and after I would post a video, I would just sit in the comment section and I would just wait. And I would get a lot of great comments here and there, and it was always the same people. Like there was this one girl, I can't remember her exact username, but it was like Blueberry something or another. And I always looked forward to her comments. And I remember being at the beach for the 4th of July, and I had actually taken the whole week off. I wasn't looking at anything. And then I, for some reason, decided to check. And there were so many comments. I'm talking like paragraphs long on theories and all these things, and my mind just exploded. And I saw that my subscriber count was going up and people were watching my videos, and I didn't even know what was happening. And I think not long after that, I was contacted by YouTube saying that they had put me on the Creator on the Rise or whatever the heck it is. I don't know. As a YouTuber, I know nothing about YouTube. But I just remember thinking it was the craziest thing in the whole entire world, because I don't know, it almost like doesn't feel real. Like it doesn't, like you do all this work because you love it and you want to do it. But the truth is, when you create YouTube videos, you don't know if anyone's going to watch it. You don't know if it's ever going to make a difference or, you know, anything like that. And the whole reason that I created my channel was because I wanted to create a YouTube channel with substance, like not just for entertainment. I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something. And the fact that it was actually working, it was crazy. It was a crazy feeling. I don't know what case it was. It was a whole whirlwind because it happened real quick, really quick.
It's been that way ever since, huh?
Yeah, and it's nuts.
Have you ever had the other effect of, because I made this video, it had a direct effect on this case?
Like negatively or positively or just any way at all?
Anyway, that's why I stopped. Because I was going to say positive. I'm like, no, you see, negative or positive.
There was one time, and I want to bring up a positive note because, I mean, I have covered cases where positive, you know, small victories have come out of it. But there was one time in particular that was actually negative, and it made me really upset. I covered a case. Oh, what was his name? Of course, I'm blanking. Skylar Tossick. And I covered his case. It was something that had been suggested like crazy. And I ended up being contacted by his mom. She wasn't too pleased at first. She's a journalist, so she's a hard critic. But she ended up being amazing. And I spoke with her on the phone for a really long time, and she gave me a lot of different tips and, you know, all these great things. But she actually police ended up getting a tip straight from my video that was very, very possible.
Wow.
And I remember sitting on pins and needles because it was the first time that had really happened. I'd been directly told that a tip had come from my video. And I just remember being excited about it, but having the sinking feeling of what if my video, you know, what if someone just sent in a tip? We obviously want tips to be sent in, even the smallest thing, because you never know. But this feeling of what if it's nothing? And, you know, they hadn't had tips in years. What if I just got their hopes up for nothing? Which ended up being exactly what happened. Someone sent in a picture of someone they believed could have been the missing person, and it ended up not being. But just, I got to spend, and I say this in a very virtual way, I got to spend those first few moments where she received the call from authorities that there was a tip in, there was someone that could have possibly been her son. Hearing what she had to say in those few moments was, again, something that I feel like is one of those changing experiences. And then, knowing that nothing came of it, I don't know, I had this weird sense of guilt. And I know it's one of those things where that's going to happen. It's a part of it. It is. Yeah. But I mean, it's not realistic, but we all just want good things to happen. We all just want there to be positive tips that solve the case or at least move it in the right direction. So that was definitely a really hard moment.
So at first I was going to tell you, like, that's not a negative at all. That's actually normal. But as far as your life, that, just, that's kind of a great experience that you had, because you cover cases and you try to put yourself in the victim's shoes.
Yeah.
You literally, for 1 second, got to see how it feels to all the missing person cases, all the years, people missing 20 years, every single time they got their hopes up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. You got to really see how it feels. So that's a great, life experience for what you do.
It is. It's hard. I mean, it was difficult. That really, really sucked. But again, on what you're saying, that is a great experience, because now, we can relate to a lot and we can empathize with a lot. But those feelings, I mean, I'm telling you, it's just, we all think we know. And we don't. And we can empathize and try our hardest, and we can do our best. But wow, that was a really real, really scary feeling. So it was great. I appreciate all the experiences that I've had, and they all teach me a lot. But man, wow, that was a hard one. Yeah.
All right. So I do it everybody same way. Someone gave you a name. Walk me through making the entire video.
Okay.
Missing person.
This is a good question. I'm even curious about other YouTubers and what they do. So I actually have a submission form. So that's where my cases come from. Mm-hmm. I am still stuck in, I think, 2017 and April or May. It's hard when you do one video a week. And I have like thousands of suggestions. It's really, really difficult. But I typically pick a name, again, on the topic of trying to find something that has a story to it, is something that I can give a good idea from start to finish, the person, the crime, or where they went missing, what happened. And I typically do like a month in advance. So I know the videos that I'm going to be covering a month or two in advance at least. And then I typically will pick out cases for a couple of months, and I always start on YouTube. That's like where the beginning of it all starts. It's where it ends. And I see what videos there are. I see if there's any other YouTubers that have covered it, what they have found, what their opinions might be. And then typically after that, I go right to Google and I try to figure out if there's news articles. There's newspaper.com where you can find stuff that's like a lot older. They have archives of pretty much everything. And I just...
Can we stop? Just because I was going to ask you this later, so I might as well put it in right here.
Yeah.
Does it change anything when a lot of big YouTubers have covered it?
Sometimes. I am not one that will hesitate if another YouTuber has covered it. Mm-hmm. I know some people do, just because, there's obviously a lot of other cases that we can put our attention on. But again, I want to do what my viewers want to see at the same time. So if I have a lot of suggestions and it's coming up in my line, I try to do it. Typically, I try to make sure it's at least been a year since someone's covered it, because at that point you're reminding people, and I have a different audience than they might have. And to me, it's still worth doing it. So yeah, no, that's not something that I hesitate on.
Any kind of pressure or anything?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we all have our different take, and I am very confident in my research. That goes into the next portion of what I do. I endlessly research. I go through every possible article. Granted, I'm going to miss some. That's just bound to happen. I swear every time I pull up a new Google search, I see different results. But I go through as much as I can to the point where I have gone through at least 10 articles and I've seen no new information. Because usually, and something I pride myself in as a true crime YouTuber, people stop very quickly. I've seen there, and not anything against other true crime YouTubers at all, and I'm not speaking about anyone specific, but I've always found very key details in random articles way back. You know, once you think you've hit a wall, keep researching, and then you'll find one thing that changes everything. And those are always the details that I try to make sure I find and I do not leave out. But so that's how research typically goes.
How long is, when you put out this video, how long is the research process on average?
It depends, but if it's something that's, I'm the kind of person where I sit down and I don't stop until going. Yeah, I just keep going. So, oh my goodness. So for example, for a lot of my videos that are typically around, most of my videos are around like 45 minutes long, and they're decently in-depth cases. I'll wake up like 6, 7 in the morning, research every day until like around 7 p.m. for like 3 to 4 days. Typically that's when I've found all my information. But I know we all like have very different paces, and some YouTubers, you know, go through things slower. I am like used to doing it at this point because I feel like I've done it for so long that I can go through articles super fast. I can pinpoint information almost immediately just by the phrasing. And if any other true crime YouTubers are watching this, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You start to see the same exact phrasing and sentences on every single article. So I can go through stuff really dang quick at this point. So, I mean, yeah, it usually takes me about 3, maybe 4 days if it's something really intense. But that's if there's no like documentaries or books, or because there are some cases where there's like 3 to 4 documentaries.
Yeah,
and it's like I was saying, you'll watch the first 3 and it'll be the same thing, but that 4th one, there's like this tiny bit of extra information, and you're like, if I had left that out,
be that would be person.
Terrible. I know. So yeah, it takes me about that long, and then Wednesdays I typically film, and filming takes forever for me. Like a really long time.
That's what people don't understand. So you got a 44-minute video. I say what? 3 hours?
Probably. It kind of depends again. Some cases stick with me a lot easier than others. I script mostly everything in a sense so I don't forget anything. And because again, I'm all about details and not forgetting things and adding in every little piece that I can. So
you played it off well. I say that.
Well, I also remember things very easily. Which is strange because I remember my cases very well, but like you tell me something 5 minutes ago and it's like totally out the window at this point. But it's one of those things where if you're passionate about it, you are going to remember it and you're not forgetting it. And so filming does take a while, but usually I can get through it pretty easily because I remember a lot of the information. It's almost one of those things where I write everything down and I script it. And even while doing that, I'm forgetting things. I'm like, oh crap, like I'm going to forget this. I'm not going to remember dates. I'm not going to remember this. But then I start going, man. And then I get heated or I get like really into it and it just flows really easily. But yeah, filming takes a while. And then probably the part I don't like the most is
editing. What a crazy nightmare.
Yeah. So it takes me at least a couple of hours to gather all of my extras, I call them, or I call them add-ins sometimes. So pictures and videos that I want to add in and very specific clips of videos. And I try to organize them in a way so that editing is easier for me because editing drives me nuts.
Do you know that before, or do you film it and then when you're sitting there, as you're watching yourself, you say, it'll be cool if I put this here?
It goes both ways. So that's why I start off with YouTube. When I'm in my research process. I'll see news clips or things like that stick out to me, and I either know will emotionally immediately tie someone into the case, or it's a part where you get a better understanding because it's someone saying it for themselves than if I were to say it. So typically stuff like that I already have planned out, but I definitely have moments where I am in my video and I'm like, I need something here. Like for this moment, I need just like extra footage to just really drive the point in, or create a visual, just kind of give a break from my talking. But yeah, it kind of goes both ways. And then editing takes me forever, really long time.
How fast is and I'm not saying physically, mentally, how fast are you ready for your next case? This video is up, it's been up 10 minutes and people are clicking and watching. Where are you mentally?
Checked out a little bit. And I don't mean that in a sense of, I'm ready to throw this case down, I can't handle it anymore, but I feel like, I look at my comments sometimes just as an example, and people will say that, depending on the case, they even have a hard time getting through the video. As someone who researches it, I have to read every article.
Yeah.
I have to watch every hard emotional interview. I have to watch it more than one time. I have to read the articles more than one time. I then have to create a whole script about it to make sure I don't forget anything. And something I actually forgot about my process is usually when I've gone through the case for the first time, I have my husband come and sit in the office with me, and I go through everything from top to bottom, because that's when I'm not just researching it, I'm thinking about it. And so I'll think of theories and ideas and I'll start connecting things together, and then he gives me his opinion. So that's what, at this point, like the third or the fourth time that I've gone through the story before even really finalizing a script for it. And then I go through it over and over again to make sure I have the script right and all the events in order and the dates right. And then then you have to film it. So then you're going through everything all over again. And then you have to edit it. So you're watching it one time through to edit it. And then you're adding in those emotional, news clips and interviews. And then you've got to rewatch it to make sure that everything's good. So it's hard for a lot of people to go and watch these videos once. And it's really hard to just be fully submersed in them for a week or more.
Yeah.
So usually by Saturday, I am emotionally drained. I'm exhausted, and my video goes live. I try to be in the comments as much as I can, but then the rest of the day on Saturday and Sunday, that's time for my family. That is time for me to kind of bring myself back down, disconnect a little bit, be thankful that, I'm not going through these sorts of situations. It's hard. I'm usually not ready for the next case either, to answer your question. Typically, I sit down on Monday and I don't feel recharged.
So you do leave a little mental space.
Yes, because there was a time when I wasn't, and it was not good for anybody. When I first started my channel and I was doing 2 videos a week and being a stay-at-home mom and, a wife, and then my husband was working 6 days a week, I was doing, all day long, every break I had, I was working. I never, even on my little breaks of time during the day, I was thinking about it. I did not take any days off, I guess you could say. And I actually had to take, I think it was 2 weeks off after about a year of doing that, a year and a half of doing that. And I had to teach myself to disconnect for my own well-being. It's hard because, like we talked about, these cases are ongoing. These are things that they're not done. And so it's hard for your brain to kind of turn off for, you time and family time when there's still so much going on with it. So I'm never ready for a new one.
Gotcha.
But I do it because I love to do it. And once, I start getting into a new case, then usually at that point, I am able to kind of get into it and disconnect a little bit from the previous one in a sense of I can help another person. I hope that made sense again.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, one thing I've always been curious about like this is keeping your focus and keeping your passion with someone who is a vet in the game, who is pretty much mother to all the new true crime YouTubers that's out there at a young age.
Another sip of my margarita. Keep going.
So, how do you stay motivated? How did this not become mundane?
Oh boy.
So exciting for all the new
Trying to-
people, but to you, you've done it. You've done it all. You've had every
Honestly,
situational cases.
I've got the perfect answer. I was just thinking about this the other day, and it actually has everything to do with Stephanie Harlow, which is so random.
I don't even know who that is. You know, like,
Who is she?
I love Stephanie. It's my sis.
Actually, what keeps my motivation, it is the new people that come in. It is, everyone who came in after me, because I feel like I came in at such a weird time. There was not pretty much anyone covering true crime, and it was exciting, and I felt like I was doing what I intended on doing, which was helping people, and seeing that there were so many people that so quickly subscribed and cared about the cases the same way I did. It keeps you going. But just like most things that, when you're dealing with something like this, it gets heavy. It gets very heavy, and it's hard to stay motivated. And it's not that gaining subscribers is not exciting at a certain point, but things become different. It's hard, and that initial excitement can wear off, and I'm not going to pretend like I didn't have so many moments and still don't have a lot of moments where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm tired, and it's stressful, and I lose my motivation, and I will find myself in a lull where I feel like I'm putting out videos that I'm not putting my all into. But the one thing, I kid you not, and I'm so happy I thought of this, the one thing that has, without fail, kicked my ass into gear again is watching other true crime YouTubers. Like newer true crime YouTubers, or people that just even started after me, or they're just new to me in general, because I see their excitement and their passion for it and the way that they're doing things and their new ideas. And one of my biggest things when I started was doing things different. At that point, no one was doing solved cases. You couldn't find solved cases anywhere. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing it because you can learn how to solve unsolved ones by picking apart the solved ones. And then I came across this idea of doing, my little mini series where every month I would switch up the type of videos. Like 1 month was serial killers, 1 month was, the solved, and then Jane and John Doe. And I switched things up. I was always trying to create new ways of approaching true crime that kept people interested in it to where it would keep benefiting the genre. And seeing more people come into true crime and come up with their own ideas, like I am so beyond obsessed with Stephanie's like coffee and crime thing that she came up with. I'm so down. It's one of those things that seeing people be passionate, and then the way that you do videos, oh my gosh, I came home and I binge watched so many videos after CrimeCon, and you go look, I promise, you go and look. I probably started editing differently after that, and I'm not kidding.
Wow.
It's one of those things where it's easy to get unmotivated, but just feeling genuine passion from other people doing it is enough to immediately kickstart my gears again. And that's how I survive. Long story short.
I love that, man, because I love that because that's how I am. I'm like, I don't care how many subscribers. When I was watching you every day, I was watching Tiffany Renee. She had 1,500 subscribers at the time. Both of
She's
you
so
guys,
good. Yep.
yeah, she was making great videos. I didn't care, and I get motivated off seeing new stuff. I think I owe it to Stephanie at this point to embarrass myself and say,
Do it. Do it.
I told her she better not do Coffee and Crime. I said, no, it's going to take you away from your stuff. Nobody's going to watch it. And she said, John, what you got to say now, John?
I was about to say, she's too sassy to listen to that. I'm sure you said that and she's like, yeah, whatever, okay.
Yeah, she reminds me all the time. Hey, you say don't do it, right, John?
Oh, that's hilarious. See, I'm telling you, it's one of those things. It's like, I don't really know what to compare it to, but the true crime community, it's one of those where you can feel very alone. It's a small community. We're all growing at very different rates. We're all trying to do very different things. And because we're in YouTube, like there tends to sometimes be like this standoffish, like issue and like, numbers this and numbers that and like who covered this better and who covered that better. And it's just so stupid to me. And I don't know, like I stay very quiet about it, and I'll just sometimes go and I'll just binge watch new people, and I'll just see, it reminds me of how I felt when I started. Watching them, it's almost like contagious. And when it comes to something like true crime, like that's so important that we remember why we started. And I think that's why I get so addicted just going back and watching people and seeing the new things they're coming up with, and just seeing people get excited when they grow and they figure out a new idea of how to do things and how to tell stories like the way you do things. And it's like this high I get off of it, of just knowing that they're here and they're doing it for the right reason. And we're all doing this together, and we're all creative, and we are all trying our hardest. And it just kind of centers me back to why I started. And then I bust out some good videos, and I research better than I've ever researched. And I try to edit better than I've ever edited. It's just, I don't know. That's
fire
how,
back inside of you.
That's how I keep going, because it's hard, and it can be really difficult sometimes to want to do another video. Like I was saying, sometimes Saturday afternoon and Sunday all day is just not enough. And I get to Monday and I'm feeling it. But then I watch someone else kick ass on a case and get that exposure out there. And I'm like, you know what? I can do it too. We can do it together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's what Josh is my motivation. He lights a fire in me. He works so fast, so hard, So Josh is my motivation. I would say that we, in our genre, we are lucky that we have the best excuse of any community in YouTube to not care about numbers.
Exactly.
Like nobody, hands down, has a better reason than we do.
Yep.
So, in closing, Miss Danelle, been a great interview. Picking your brain, learning some stuff from you. Did you have anything else you'd like to add for your fans and followers?
I don't know. Now I'm going to cry just thinking about it, because I don't know. It's awesome, because I just think back again to when I started. I don't want to cry. Damn it, John.
That's fine.
What is it with you and making me emotional in every video you ever do? I don't know. It was just really cool to have this opportunity to sit down and talk to you, and meeting you at CrimeCon, and just meeting all the other true crime YouTubers. And I don't know. It's just awesome. I'm really, really grateful to be a part of this community. I'm thankful that I got to meet the people that I did, and, that every single person that's in this community so far has even decided to do this, because it's hard. And, for such a long time, like I was so freaking alone doing it. And then I found John Lorden, bless his heart. He's so sick of me.
John, what's going on?
He's so sick of me at this point, because I just harass him. But I don't know. Just that I'm very thankful for all the viewers, because I don't think they quite understand how much of an impact their view makes. And I sit there sometimes at the end of my videos and say it for like 30 minutes. I'm like, you don't get it. One person can make a difference, and they're probably just like so sick of it. But it's so true. And, you know, the people that not only support my channel, but every true crime channel, you know, people that I suggest, and then finding YouTubers like you in true crime, and Stephanie and John and Amber, and the list just goes on and on, Josh Miles, all of them, that not only, you know, we just all support each other as well. It's awesome. And I'm very grateful because I look back at a year ago and I didn't have that. And it's just been cool. It's been a really fun experience to watch this genre grow and to meet really awesome people and to see the viewers stick with it and still be just as passionate for the same reasons that we are. And I'm just really thankful. And I'm happy I got to sit down and talk with you because
Awesome.
I feel like we all get so stuck sitting behind a computer and we don't get an opportunity to talk about stuff like this and discuss what's behind the scenes and just talk to each other about our experiences. So I'm thankful that you asked me to do this.
Anytime. And, you know, I'm sure we'll work together on many more things in the future. I wanted to say, while I have you here, because it's sort of surreal to sit in my same red chair and like Forensic Files and found like, who is Danelle? Let me watch her. And then to go all the way and just, I will never forget that the first time ever you told us to stop and really think about the victims who's going to be watching and maybe in the comment section, that molded my entire channel. So I probably would not be saying, don't kill, make a sandwich if it wasn't for you.
Oh my gosh, I love it. You're the best.
All right, guys. Bye, everybody.